Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Shieh-Chi Chen, and I'm here to have a conversation on how to support and increase our resiliency during stressful times. And to do that, I have Ismat Dhala-Nathani to talk to me and to us about how to maintain our health on the physical, mental, and emotional levels. Welcome, Ismat.
Thank you, Suju, and hello, everyone. This is a great opportunity to be able to converse with you all. I'm very happy to be here.
Excellent. And just so that you all know who Ismat is, I'm just going to quickly read her bio so I don't forget anything important. Ismat is I'm so proud that you're here. First of all, I just wanted to say that. I know you've been particularly busy because people have been calling into you and you've been like working with people nonstop to this time. So for those of you who don't know her, Ismat has spent over 26 years living and traveling in 3 different continents, honing her knowledge on integrative Ayurvedic medicine. And fortunately for all of us, in 2002, she founded the Center for Ayurvedic and Indian Systems for Healing in Toronto. Now, she's done an amazing job. Since that time, she's trained over 150 practitioners who are also out there doing this good work. And on top of that, she continues to teach and hold workshops and speak around the world. So in light of all of that, I'm absolutely delighted that you're here. And maybe you could start by actually explaining what integrative Ayurvedic medicine is.
Sure. So I'll start with Ayurveda first. Ayurveda is an traditional Indian systems of medicine. It's also called as the sister science of yoga. And so those who know yoga, and yoga is a lot more popular in West, it's the medical science component of the spiritual development and the physical strengthening. So Ayurveda is the medicine. It has herbs, nutrition. There is also a lot of insights to how the human body functions, how it connects with the mind, how it connects with the spirit.
Got it.
Integrative Ayurvedic medicine is just bringing all aspects of Indian medicine, which includes yoga, Ayurveda, other specific areas of the medicine all together, and also bringing the Western holistic components of health and healing, which kind of makes it a whole complete model of health, especially for us in the West.
That's wonderful. I know that the model is very holistic, particularly when I came to see you, right? We look at not just the medical or chemical component of it, but like the whole, takes a whole human being into consideration. So I'm curious, I mean, we're living now in an environment that's completely different from what we envisioned even like a month ago. And the fact that we're at home and confined to certain spaces is actually stressful. So what do you recommend for people in that, like for us actually right now?
Right. So yes, it's a very different time, and different sometimes means challenging as well. But we've gone from one extreme of living where we were out there and doing so much, coming to the other extreme of just being in the house or homes and so much restricted. When we talk about Indian medicine, it definitely gears us towards balance, maintenance. And if you know what the word mantra is the magical kind of the word, which means moderation. And I'm sure we'll come to that place of moderation, but till we come to that place, we still have to undergo these challenging times. As much as they're challenging, everyone is doing their jobs. The government is doing their job. The healthcare workers are doing their job. Everyone is doing their job. And what is important for us as an individual to actually acknowledge, beside the earning part of the job, or the parenting part of the job, or the relationship part of the job, is to look into ourselves and what's our job here while we are kind of in the lockdown.
Interesting. And actually, I wanted to ask you about the next step because, I was reading the news and I noticed that it's easy to start like increasing my level of anxiety and stress because it's not just news from Canada with regards to what's happening, but, we get
Right.
news south of the border, the different countries, one may be going down, but there's another that's certainly like their numbers are shifting. So what would you suggest for us in terms of maintaining our mental well-being and our mental balance?
Totally. Besides what's going on currently, on an average, a human being creates over 1,000 to 10,000 thoughts in a day. That's
Mm,
how our mental mechanism is. Now, with all these news getting bombarded, we are probably even reaching to that far end of 10,000 thoughts, which are not serving us at all because these thoughts then manifest in the body at many levels, creating stress, sleep problems, joint problems, and things like that. The best way that we are now recommending as help experts, and you might have heard others also saying the same thing, is to minimize what you hear, what you see, and even what you're doing with the news. So taking the news and then instantly you're texting to a friend as well.
mm,
So kind of holding yourself a little bit back on that. Just make a habit once a day, like our grandparents used to do, just once a day, open the newspaper or, listen to a radio. And I think that's what we are kind of getting to, a little bit bringing ourselves backward. We have gone way too forward in life. And this is kind of bringing yourself backward and restricting yourself. It will take some discipline, but if you can consciously keep on dwelling these habits, I'm sure they will serve you better.
yes, it's really about putting barriers around all of that stuff so that our mindset is preserved for what we need to do, right? And right now, what we need to
Right.
do is really take care of ourselves, take care of our families, make sure that what we commit to in terms of the work gets done, or like what's next for us, looking at all of that. Um, and given that we have limited opportunities to go out,
Mm-hmm.
what would you suggest in terms of self-care? I mean, you talked about yoga earlier. I know
Right.
personally I've started meditating because that's like a great way to start the day. And if I don't, I actually notice it in my body and in
Right.
my mind. Like, I get into a tizzy a lot easier. So anything you would suggest?
And that's a very good way to start, is bringing in one change.
Okay.
Again, going to the other spectrum and the extreme where people try to do a lot of changes, just kind of being more reactive. Be more proactive, choose what is really important to you and what serves you, because you want to set yourself up for success or well-being, what we call it. And in this success of well-being, you want to choose one thing, like a meditation for you is important. Probably for me, changing my diet. Or for someone else, it could be just kind of having a better routine with their sleeping patterns or going to bed early. So try and just focus on one area. And once you think that, yeah, I've kind of achieved this, or this is goal, like I've done it, then you set yourself to the second one. But that's a very good way to start, one step at a time.
And then start layering and building in. I really like what you're saying. I said in the introduction, and this is based on our conversation, that
Yes.
Ayurvedic medicine is around physical, mental, and emotional states. And so far, I feel like we've been teasing each one out. So, do you have
Right.
any suggestions for how to integrate all of that? And then possibly, like, how does, our food influence our well-being choices? Any other suggestions?
So totally, as I said, that mind, body, and spirit, they are special entities, and they're separate entities, but they live in the same home. Exactly like your family members, they are separate individuals, but living in the same home. And the communication between these members are extremely important. One of the ways that you can communicate, your mind, body, and your spirit can communicate, is by check-ins. So when you take a pause, you're doing a lot of work, say were in a 2 hours of meeting. After the meeting, now possibly you have a room because you didn't have that when you were in a workspace. You had to go from one meeting to another meeting. Now possibly you pause and you do a check-in. And check-ins are they're very simple, but they're very powerful tool, because in that way you're realigning your thought. You're checking with the body. How am I feeling? Do I have any stiffness? Do I feel itchy? Or, I'm not feeling too good. I didn't have a good feeling about what I was told or how I was asked about something. So these check-ins are very, very important, which really helps you to understand how the body would be communicating. Because when you don't check in, there's a reaction. And then you are left with the reaction. Probably you didn't realize in time that, that meeting didn't go well and I didn't like what was told to me. But you moved on thinking that you have moved on, but internally the mind, body, spirit are still struggling to get that answer. And so that's one way of taking it.
Yeah, sorry, Ismat. I just want to interrupt you there for a minute, because for those of us who are working from home, if we don't check in, then the danger is, of course, moving from one to the other and taking whatever was unresolved or the negative right into the next meeting, and not managing the next one appropriately. So I think that's critical. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I just popped in my mind, and I want to make sure I mentioned it.
Still we are working, although we are at home, but our work, for many people, the work is not stopped. And actually we are trying to do too much in a way as well. So those pauses and check-ins are definitely good when you're not taking things forward, and your productivity will also improve. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm wasting time here because I'm checking in too many times, no, actually it will improve your productivity. So that's one way. Second is also paying attention to the body's needs. So one of the very classical saying in the Ayurvedic medicine is, do not suppress your natural urges. That could mean as simple as yawning. That could mean as simple as wanting to pee, or even passing gas. So now that you're in your personal
I'm sorry, when you said, your urges, I just went straight to the fridge, because that's like an immediate, I want a break, get up, go to the fridge, grab a bite, come back. And I'm noticing now that there's just a little too many trips that way. So.
Well, this we're talking about natural urges rather than impulses.
Got it. Thank you.
The physical urges, like the mechanisms of the body, like yawning and
good.
Sneezing or itching, because sometimes when you're in front of people, you just don't want to do certain things. Yes. So those kind of check-ins. And then with your, we already looked into the spirit about how you feel about certain things. So checking into that. And with the mind, if there's a thought that comes, pause and ask yourself, is it important for me to carry on to that action or delve into that thought? So those are just the simple tools that you can utilize right now.
Nice.
Because it's the time to pause.
Yes. One of the things I tell my clients when it's, when their mind is too full, is to actually get something, like to get a book. And I have something like this that I use, that I keep close to me. And it's basically just anything that's rattling around in your brain, dump it. Anything that's rattling around, dump it. It's not a to-do, but it's a keeper for everything that's floating around. And I can always go in and pick it up and move it into my calendar so it becomes an actionable item. So I think that's really great.
Jotting is very good way. Any creative is very good way. We also give people to basically use your fingers as reminders, because that's connecting with your body. And you can actually draw. So when you get up in the morning, you ask yourself, how am I feeling today? Did I wake up fresh or grumpy? And you can draw a grumpy face. By midday, if you're feeling really bright and you got certain work done, a smiley face. So you can actually use your fingers, and it's pretty cool. And then end of the day, you can see, oh, I went through so many different moves, but this is what really made me happy, or things like that. So it's also kind of reflecting back.
Yes.
And it's a very instant method of doing it, because the recommendation was to do it with your cloth. You tie if one thing you have achieved, you kind of make a tie on your cloth or your hanky and
Oh,
things like that.
interesting. Well, thank you for sharing that. It sounds like a lot of fun. And one thing that I do know I'm trying to put more in is like how can I have more fun? How can I have more joy? Right? Like,
Right.
so that just sounds like fun. But I will caution that if people are doing it on their left hand, maybe they should just use their right hand when they're like, you know,
Right.
like
It's just an
talking
option.
on Zoom.
Right.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that piece. Anything around food or what we should focus on or stay away from, perhaps?
Totally. So right now, of course, it's a challenging time, and getting even food could be a challenge.
Mm,
One is no guilt associated with food, because guilt is more toxic than your, the
yes.
real food.
And it
Gratitude
adds
around
to the
food.
stress for sure.
Totally, it adds a lot of stress, and especially if you're too fixated on your diets, and you have been, and you are one of those people that uh, can have only specific food at a time, or have a certain diet, and you are not getting
Mm,
those freedom because there's not too much out there. Um, One is, don't get guilty if you have to eat a different diet.
mm.
Eat it. There are always ways of taking care of yourself, as I said, by exercising, or even going for a nice, if possible, going for a nice walk, de-stressing yourself. So focus on those lifestyles
Okay.
rather than diet. Of course, when you have the time and the opportunity, always go for fresh food. So fresh food, hydration is also very important. Make sure that you're drinking good amount of water, you're hydrating yourself, and try not to cook too much and put it in the freezer. So that is
Oh,
one thing that in any traditional or ancient medicines, like traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, Native Indian medicine, that's the first focus, is not to eat too much of frozen food. And you can see how the climate is today. We are almost to zero. So we are yet not there to eat cold foods.
mm,
So try and eat warm food, and you'll try to keep yourself in balance with
got
warmer.
it. So as fresh as we possibly can and not too much in terms of the preserved stuff, right? Like
Right.
frozen, preserved, etc. That's great. Thank you. I can't think of what else to ask. Is there any nuggets of wisdom or best practices that you are open to sharing with us?
Sure. So one of the best practices, and especially in times like this, is sleep. So a lot of people are not getting the good quality sleep,
Mm,
although they are home, but still they are not getting the quality of sleep. So it's very important in your lifestyle to stop that work at least by sunset, and take that time for yourself. Don't try and work after 8:30. And for good sleep, of course, breathing exercises are very important. And it could be a simple breathing exercise. It need not be a very complicated, just a nice inhalation with a long exhalation, as
got
long
it.
as you can go.
Do you want to demonstrate one for us, Ismat?
Sure. So if you think that you're stressed, I'll go a little bit at the back so that you can see me. Um, if you think you are stressed, then nose inhalation with mouth exhalation. So you sit in a
Mm,
comfortable place. You could also
okay.
be lying, or you could sit on your chair with a crossed leg and take a breath in. So I'll demonstrate, so I won't be talking. So inhalation through the nose and exhalation through the mouth.
Okay, I'll
So
do it
this is
with
how
you.
it will go. Sure.
Mm. And of course, that.
So as long as you can go, because the longer the breath is, you're letting go.
And how many times would you recommend?
Maximum, I would say 5 times.
Got it.
And if you don't want to do the mouth exhalation, you can do it through the nose as well. So the nose one will go. just long, feeling it in your throat, in your trachea, and it just relaxes your whole body.
I'm noticing that my shoulders just went down. The minute I gave that long, deep breath, my shoulders immediately just went down. So that's amazing. That's great. Thank you so much for demonstrating that for us. Now, where can people find out more about you, schedule a call with you, whatever they may, like people are still very committed to their health and well-being, but I think more so now. So where can they reach you, Ismat?
The easiest way is to go on my website, ismatdhala.com. That is my first name and then my middle name. And you have all the options for virtual booking. There are blogs if you want to read about different aspects of health, or you just want to know more about me. Phone number, everything is there.
So I'm just going to spell it. It's ISMATDHALA.com.
That's right.
Ismat Dhala. ISMATDHALA.com.
That's right.
Ismat, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. And like for that minute of relaxation, love it. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me over. And I wish everyone out there all the best.